Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let's give it up for Ayodele. My name is Samir Mayekar, and I'm very proud to serve as your deputy mayor for neighborhood and economic development. And a little known fact is I've played the drums for 20 years, and I think there's no better way to spend a morning than doing that. I'd like to welcome everybody here on behalf of Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and we're here to kick off Invest Southwest. As many of you know, Mayor Lightfoot cares deeply about neighborhoods, and she's tasked her team to think more about how we can increase investment south of Roosevelt Road and west of Ashland. We're here to make sure that we're investing throughout the city in all neighborhoods, but especially with the focus on the south and west side. And I think it's important that everyone here know that we're not here just to plan, we're here to do. And we're here kicking this event off. Yeah, we can give that a round of applause. We're here to make sure that 2020 is a year of action. And what's most important is that we're here to implement investment in neighborhoods, not just with the city, not just with the private sector, but also with you, with the community. The Invest Southwest program, as you're about to hear, will bring $750 million to 10 neighborhood areas. And that program will invest in the quality of life plans that all of you and your community organizations throughout the city have helped to implement. We're here today focused specifically on Auburn Gresham, on Englewood, and on New City back of the yards. And the mayor and I want you to know that we personally convene every city department head in a session together focused on implementing this initiative. We meet every 2 to 4 weeks, and it's the first time that the city has truly seen coordinated, interdepartmental effort to bring and coordinate investment in the south and the west sides. It's something we should be really proud of. So, we're here today primarily to hear from all of you. If you've been next door, you'll see some of the planning activities that we have laid out, and we want to make sure that we're truly setting the city on the right path with your input. So, thank you for being here today, and before we bring up the rest of our speaking program, I want to talk a little bit about the census. As many of you know, 2020 is the year of the census, and our city depends on resources from an accurate count. So we invite you to make your mark on Chicago and to be counted. And in fact, the census this year, it's the first time that it's ever been done on the internet. Who would have thought, 2020, right? Now the census is important because for each one of us that gets counted, that brings almost $2,000 of investment into Chicago each year for 10 years. So if we're not counted accurately, and some of you know there are folks there who don't want us counted accurately, that will have an impact on our neighborhoods, that will have an impact on investment. So we are committed to an accurate count regardless of your age, regardless of your race, regardless of your citizenship status, regardless of what neighborhood you live in. This is an inclusive census, and you have a city that's deeply committed to that. So starting on April 1st, you can be counted, and we invite you to make sure that you are a part of Census 20. So with that, I'd like to introduce one of the deans here at Kennedy King College, Tanisha Terry Jackson. Tanisha, why don't you come on up?
Good afternoon or good morning. It's almost afternoon. I'm excited, and I'm actually honored to have the pleasure to bring up our leader of the Kennedy King College campus, President Dr. Gregory Thomas.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Good. Welcome to Kennedy King College, or as I like to say, welcome to our college, because we're here to serve this community. First, I'd like to thank the mayor and her team for selecting Kennedy King College to host this important event this morning. And also, I'd like to thank the mayor and her team for their loyalty to the South Side of Chicago and their dedication to the South Side of Chicago. Can we give them a round of applause? But I also want you to know that Kennedy King College is also dedicated to the South Side of Chicago and to Englewood. And in that regard, we have an important role to play as a college by providing affordable and high-quality educational opportunities for this community, which will lead to employment opportunities. In that regard, we're very flexible in terms of our offerings. We have the traditional transfer programs for students that want to go into a university, but we also have high-quality programs for those that want to find employment opportunities as well. So some of you know about our Dawson Institute, where we do our high-quality training for workforce development and construction sciences, welding, plumbing, and et cetera. But we also have an HVAC program on this campus as well, and also an automotive program. Now, I'm really excited about two big initiatives for us. One, we're launching now a Center of Excellence for the Creative Arts here at this college. Yes. And the theme of that initiative is to bring equity when it comes to the arts to this community. So in that regard, we're going to amp up our offerings here for our students and for our faculty and for our staff. We have this beautiful theater. We have a beautiful TV studio and a radio station that you will see as you do your walk around. But we want to make that accessible to this community as well. In that regard, we're partnering with a lot of agencies throughout the city, particularly DCASE, and I have Commissioner Kelly in the back there. There we go, sir. Who's been an advocate and supporter for this college and for this community in terms of bringing the arts to this community. We're also partnering with Collaboration. We have some of our members from Collaboration. There you go, Marcus and others. The Lyric Opera, the Goodman Theater, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We were bringing these opportunities and the arts to this community. Visual arts, dance, theater, you name it. We're looking also to launch in the future a Englewood Film Festival as well. So we're looking at doing a lot of wonderful things to bring the arts to this community. Also, the last point I want to share with you is this. We're also launching a new IT hub. We want to make sure that we're providing practical opportunities for our community, particularly within the high-paying field of the IT world. If you look at the numbers, they're dismal when it comes to representation among people of color. And as we know, the salaries in the IT world are incredibly high and lucrative. Also keep in mind that, again, many of those occupations don't require a college degree. So again, that talks about our flexibility as an institution to provide certificates and degrees. So we're looking at launching a cybersecurity program, a cloud security program, cloud architecture, the Internet of Things, a variety of certificates, including Cisco and AWS. I can go on and on. A gaming program as well. Again, all these are high occupational jobs that we're looking at launching here. Computer science, I can go on and on. But the important thing is that we want to bring those opportunities to this college and to this community to fight the digital divide and provide those kind of opportunities to the people on the south side of Chicago. So on that note, welcome to Kennedy King College. Another one of our star supporters and also a member of our Community Advisory Committee is our own alderman, Stephanie Coleman. I want to bring her up so she can say a couple of words to you, representing the 16th Ward.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I've been waiting a long time to say this at Kennedy King, but welcome to the new 16th Ward. Before I begin, I have to acknowledge my colleague and alder sister, 20th Ward Alderman Jeanette Taylor is here. And we share Kennedy King, so you on the 16th Ward side. If we were on the other building, we'd be in the 20th Ward. Also, as the proud daughter of Englewood, I want to welcome our neighbors. Is New City in the house? Is Auburn Gresham in the house? Is Back of the Yards in the house? Is Englewood in the house? Y'all just show out. Just like Englewood and and Auburn Gresham and New City and Back of the Yards, we're all changing the narrative of our communities, what the media tries to portray us. And we know that in Englewood, it's all good in Englewood. For far too long, our communities have been plagued with disinvestment. So on behalf of myself and Alderman Taylor, I know that we are excited and we are intentional about this initiative that Mayor Lori Lightfoot has with Invest Southwest, and not just planning, as Samir said. We have been planned for years, Carlos, and now it's time to do. So, on behalf of myself, Alderman Stephanie Coleman, again, welcome to the 16th Ward. I'd like to thank Commissioner Maurice Cox and Department of Planning and Development. All of you all, will you wave your hand at the city? And and President Thomas of the great Kennedy King College and his entire team. And as we invest Southwest, remember it's all good and where? God bless you all and thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Craig Chico, and I am the, thank you, Carlos, the president of the Back of the Yards Neighborhood Council, which is New City, and I am proud and happy and really excited to represent the groups today that are being identified as the recipients of Invest in Southwest. So let me tell you just real quickly, my grandfather, like a lot of your families, and my family, has deep, deep roots in our community. My grandfather settled in the Back of the Yards in 1919. And I can tell you, I wasn't here then, but I can tell you for a fact that there's never been this kind of investment in our community, this kind of attention, this kind of focus, this kind of love for our community to make us better with this economic catalyst. So I'm so thrilled to be part of this. I'm so thrilled to work with my colleagues. I too want to thank the mayor for this. I want to thank Samir, the deputy mayor, and Commissioner Cox for what you've done so far and what I know you're going to do in helping us implement. Let me just say this too. It feels different this time, Carlos, doesn't it? I mean, not just the talk, the rhetoric is different. The action is different, and I know the commitment is different. I'm here, I'm living testament. The commitment has been to engage community this time, really engage us. And I'm here as part of that commitment. I'm here living testament. We've been engaged. We've had conversations with Samir, with the mayor, with the commissioner. We know that they're going to take what we have to say into consideration about how our communities are invested. What we invest in our communities, what it looks like, what the amount is, what's important to us. So I'm so thrilled to be part of that from the Back of the Yards. I'm so thrilled to work with my colleagues, and this time it feels different. I know what's going to get done. Let's all get together and implement this thing and make our communities better. Thank you so much.
Wow. All right, the room where it happens. I love this. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am so thrilled to be here. When I came out earlier, the room wasn't full like this, so this feels good. And so I'd like to give a shout out to Greater Englewood for hosting us. Thank you, thank you. And I did hear that Auburn Gresham is here, and New City is here, and Back of the House is here. Awesome, Back of the Yards. So to the president of this community college, thank you for welcoming this effort. Our partners, Alderman Coleman and Taylor, it feels really, really good to be here. I am on my 90th day in the city. So how is this feeling for getting to business really early? I love it. Oh, by all means. I am so new that there's still folks who are trying to see who this person is. I am your new Commissioner of Planning and Development for the City of Chicago. There you go. And we have gotten to work immediately. Maurice. You can call me Maurice. I just feel like everybody here knows me, Maurice Cox. So Commissioner, Commish, I've heard all kinds of things. So no, it's my pleasure. And my job here is to talk to you about how we're going to move this plan into action. And why after so many years of patience and waiting and working, we've decided to focus on these communities first. And it stems from something the mayor observed very early that, we've seen public investment, we've seen government funding, but we have never seen it in its capacity to multiply and leverage private investment. And that is what we're going to try to do here. There will be an amazing multiplier effect if we can work from the visions that communities have already established, bring public investment to them, and leverage that for private investment. And this is the result of not having a coordinated strategy. These two maps show what has happened to Chicago over the past 50 years, where you can see the blue, where the northern communities have gotten wealthier and richer, and the communities to the west and to the south side have gotten poorer. And the salmon color you see there has all but disappeared. That is the middle class that has gotten squeezed and squeezed. And we have to do something about that. One of the challenges is we're one of the largest cities in America, but the cities we compare ourselves are growing. Chicago is the only major city of our scale whose population is declining. And we believe that there's a reason for that. And many of you know people who have left this city, black and brown people who are leaving. And they have reasons. The streets where we shop, the parks where our kids play, the job opportunities that are available in our community, there are reasons for people to leave, thousands. But I would contend that there are hundreds of thousands who've decided to stay. And they care deeply about the community they live in. And we are developing these strategies with those who stayed, those who open up those businesses that are locally serving. We think there is potential for hundreds of businesses that want to serve this community. For those who are reinventing enterprise and creating new innovative ways, new jobs, green-collar jobs. And those who simply want to raise their family in these beautiful single-family neighborhoods that we have. So I just want to make it very clear who we're doing this for. It's for those who are here and those who plan to stay. And so here's a picture of what I found as I traveled across Chicago and found streets that were beautifully curated, big wide sidewalks, tree-lined streets, shops locally, nationally, and I really began to wonder, why can we do it there, in Hyde Park, in Fulton Market, and why can't we do it on South Michigan? Why can't we do it on 47th and Ashland? We can, but we have to accept the disinvestment that you see, these sidewalks that are obstacle courses, buildings that are not cared for, reinvested in, boarded up. What's important to see is that all of the ingredients are there. The building stocks are there, businesses that we can lift up and add new businesses. And so we went about the process of trying to determine, where do we start? And the decision, for a host of reasons that I'll explain, was to start in Austin, start in Hobart Park, North Lawndale, New City, Englewood, Auburn Gresham, South Shore, South Chicago, Roseland, both Pullman and West Pullman, and Brownsville, with North Kenwood, Oakland, Grand Boulevard, and Douglas Park. These are the communities where we're going to initiate this coordinated investment and then keep rolling through the South and West Side until we have touched every community there. So these are the areas that we've started where there is the greatest need, but we also realize they are communities that have some of the strongest assets when you're trying to do this coordinated strategy. First and foremost, there is an amazing network of community partners who are already in place, who have been working for years to lift up these communities. And when we call a meeting, hundreds of people show up. That is an absolute requirement for the kind of work we're talking about doing. There are also communities that have had community plans, quality of life plans, other kinds of plans that have already decided what are their priorities. And so we don't have to do that work again. We can start and immediately implement. They have access to great transit, whether it be CTA or the Metra or express buses. These are communities that are connected via transit, and they have amazing constellation of community service organizations and anchor institutions that we can build from. And very importantly, they have a concentration of businesses, places that are trying to serve local needs, that are concentrated in geographies that are walkable. So these are some of the reasons why we're starting where we're starting. But these are the goals that we hope to achieve. We want to amplify the local assets that exist in these communities. We want to focus the public investment along local priorities. We want to drive the private investment to build local wealth. And we want to integrate some new strategies for public safety. And I'll dig a little deeper into those topics. But most importantly, we want to bring public investment in a targeted, layered, and catalytic way. And so Mayor Lightfoot has asked our department, the Planning and Development Department, to look at our budget, the tax increment finance pool, the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund, and leverage that $250 million along these corridors in these 10 neighborhoods, and ask a host of other agencies and sister agencies and departments to look at the projects that are in the pipeline and look for synergies across different components of the strategy. And so we found $750 million that we will be targeting in this coordinated manner. And I'll explain to you where that goes. And understand that this is to leverage private dollars and philanthropic dollars. In order to deliver this service, we've had to reimagine how the planning department is organized. And so for the first time, we are dividing the city into regions, neighborhood regions, that will have a full complement of planners dedicated exclusively to that region for the entire time of the initiative and beyond. Very, very important. And so the Far South Side will be able to have a planner that works with those communities, that work with those aldermen, to figure out what those priorities are and how to move them from plan to action. In fact, we are hiring as we speak. We are planning 7 new planners and urban designers that will go to each of these divisions. If you are, if this is your discipline, if this is your passion, if you know someone who has the complement, who knows how to work in our communities, we're hiring. They just have to go to www.chicago.gov/careers. And why do we need them? Because we're going to try something different here. We're going to try to do development that is community driven. That means we are going to be meeting with residents. We're going to be meeting with organizations on the ground to understand what are the priorities and how we can deliver them in a way that the community identifies with them, feels ownership of them, and will lift them up. And so we have started by developing a toolkit, bringing the various organizations of city government to the neighborhoods and taking stock of the assets that these neighborhoods have, starting with the building stock. There are amazing buildings in our communities. We believe that if we reinvest in them, we can get uses on those upper floors. We can remake the ground floor and get businesses into those storefronts. And we can transform the experience of simply walking down the street. And so we're talking about buildings like this that with the right kind of investment, they can be transformed to this. With local shops, that respect the quality of the architecture and provide a real service for residents. Transportation is another tool. Transportation starts with your feet. We're all pedestrians first. And so we're talking about how do you make over our streets in the public realm so you don't have one side of Chicago Avenue in Oak Park lined with trees and brick pavers, and the other side of Chicago, in Chicago, looking like that. So we think, working with our partners in CDOT, we can transform the entire public realm and make it pedestrian-oriented. And being that those projects take a long time, we can demonstrate things quickly. In 2020, we can transform intersections and make more space for pedestrians, test these ideas, see if they work. If they don't work, we don't have to worry, but if they do, we can then go on to implement. So we can start to demonstrate folks action on the ground as early as 2020. Then there are a whole host of vacant lot strategies that we need to start to implement. You can beautify a vacant lot without having a building there. And so these are often temporary solutions that give people a sense that every lot in a neighborhood is cared for. There are strategies involving tree planting that just establish a look of order and curation in the neighborhood, and by the way, also can fuel green-collar employment opportunities for people in the neighborhood who care for those lots. We're talking about using art and lifting up the kind of creative spirit that we saw this morning in neighborhoods and taking every opportunity we can to beautify the community through the arts. So an underpass viaduct can be an expression of a gateway into a neighborhood by inviting artists in and using those as their canvas. Even buildings can be, the entire building can be a canvas, again, waiting for its reuse. And then, most importantly, we're setting the stage for community life, for cultural activities, for music festivals. These are things that Invest Southwest are hoping to do. And then I want to talk a little bit about the importance of shopping locally. We want to provide the range of services that local business owners who live in the community want to provide to citizens here. And so we want to find opportunities, dozens and dozens of opportunities, to lift up local businesses, allow people who have a business idea to start on those corridors and provide the services that residents richly deserve. And so the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund is going to be our opportunity to find those entrepreneurs, find those business owners, and give them the resources they need to open up. And so a series of workshops are being planned. If you are a business owner, you know people who want to open up a business, this is going to be our mechanism to do that. And so the next steps, how is this going to roll out? Because this is really just the introduction. We have internally begun to organize so that all of the sister organizations, sister agencies, and departments are in conversation so that we can have synergies amongst our work. We are officially kicking off this effort today with you. We've gone through many of the neighborhood plans and have found ideas that we think should be lifted up. Many of them are captured on some of the maps, and so we're asking you to participate in that exercise of making sure we've heard what residents want us to prioritize, and then we're going to refine those into plans, working with some of the community organizations on the ground to get them financed and hopefully make announcements over the course of the spring and the summer of the first projects to be executed. And then by the summer, we hope to animate the streets with programmed activities with our partners in DCASE and, again, organizations on the ground. All throughout that process, we are going to be coming back to meet with communities at their level, at each individual community level, to constantly check and refer back to see if the strategies are in line with your priorities. So 2020 will be a year of implementation, and 21 and 22 until we have gotten the job done. That's Invest Southwest. So how we want to continue to collect information, I'm going to invite Abby Monroe to come out and explain a little bit what you've seen in the breakout rooms and how we want to get your input further from that organization. So listen, thank you. This is an amazing kickoff, and I'm thrilled to be helping lead this. Thank you.